Have you ever convinced yourself that the cigarette you're about to smoke is just one cigarette and that you'll quit after that? What if I told you that every cigarette you've ever smoked in your entire life doesn't just disappear, but is rather building a huge mountain of cigarettes? In this video, I'm going to talk to you about how that mountain of cigarettes, of every single cigarette you've ever smoked, can either bury you or free you. When people notice cravings to smoke and then they inevitably give in and smoke the cigarette, they are trapped in a sort of bubble in time. Cigarettes tend to trap you in this bubble of time where nothing else matters besides fulfilling that craving. Now, during this bubble, when you're in trapped in this bubble in time, you have no consequence or you have no conception of future consequence, which means that even if somebody were to tell you that cigarettes cause cancer and all these things, it doesn't matter because when you're trapped in that bubble, the only thing that matters is fulfilling that immediate craving. And often because there's this sort of tension between what people know to do, which is not smoke, and this craving that's pulling them to smoke, in order to ease that tension, people convince themselves that I'm just going to have this one cigarette. This one cigarette won't kill me. And so they convince themselves to, that it's okay in a sense to smoke a cigarette. But what's very, very important to realize is that every cigarette you've ever smoked, it piles up and they don't just go away. They pile up almost like a mountain of cigarettes. So you can even imagine what that mountain would look like, right? The thousands of cigarettes that you've ever smoked in your life just piled up like a mountain. It's very important to start to imagine what this is like because the more vividly you imagine all of these cigarettes that you've ever smoked in your entire life stacked up like a mountain, the more vivid you see that picture in your mind, the more you start to realize what type of danger you're actually putting yourself in. And it's that it's never just one cigarette. It's always one on top of that mountain that you've already piled up. So the next time you think, I'm just gonna have one more cigarette, you really should imagine that mountain of cigarettes because that cigarette that you're about to smoke is going to be added on top of that mountain. Now, as you can imagine, this mountain isn't very stable. This doesn't really have a lot of stability to it. So you never really know which cigarette will cause this mountain to come crashing down. And when that happens, it's, whoever's underneath that mountain will be crushed by those cigarettes. So, as vivid and as poignant as this metaphor is, it's very important to, really close your eyes. If you can do it right now, if you're not operating a car or anything like that, then I suggest actually closing your eyes and imagining this mountain of cigarettes and realizing how unstable it is. You can even add sensory details, like imagine how smelly and disgusting this mountain really is. So every cigarette that you smoke is one more on top of this mountain. However, you can start to make the decision right now to walk away from that mountain. And the further you walk away from that mountain, the more you free you start to get. So you can really imagine that now after you've gotten the sense of that mountain, just imagining stepping away from that mountain to the point where you are so far away that it starts to become almost like a speck in the distance. So it's very important that once you realize that mountain is there, you can move away from that. So if this metaphor has resonated with you, go ahead and hit subscribe because I'll be releasing more content and newer perspectives that can help shift your relationship with smoking and start to get out of that bubble in time that smoking puts you in. So go ahead and hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.